presidential war powers. One of the most critical authorizations granted by the U.S. Congress. Congress granted authorizations for the use of military forces, or AUMFs, for the 1991 Gulf War and 2003 U.S. invasions of Iraq. Decades later, some of those powers may be ending.
Americans are tired of endless wars in the Middle East. Many Americans have come of age without even remembering the early years of the Iraq War. Every year we leave these AUMFs on the books is another year that a future administration can abuse them.
AUMFs have given U.S. presidents the power to conduct military operations without congressional approval. Lawmakers have tried for years to repeal AUMFs, arguing they are outdated.
No weapons of mass destruction were ever found in Iraq. The repeal of this authorization of use of military force does not mean that the United States has become a pacifist nation. It means that the United States is going to be a constitutional nation.
But some Senate Republicans argue a repeal leaves presidents with few options to respond quickly to continuing threats.
Americans are serving in Iraq, and we owe it to them to make sure that we can use whatever military force necessary to protect them against Shiite militias operating in Iraq at the direction of Iran.
Granted commander-in-chief status by the U.S. Constitution, presidents have long taken military action without congressional approval and often with little congressional pushback. The proposed AUMF repeal includes additional safeguards meant to protect against the misuse of power and to ensure the president can act quickly if U.S. forces are threatened abroad.
I know well the threat that Iran poses to us and to our allies in the region. We cannot be naive about their intentions, and we need to have the political will to respond how and when we deem necessary. But repeal will have no impact on our ability to defend U.S. interests against Iran.
Previous attempts to pass the measure have failed. Lawmakers will debate the matter this week and hope to capture the attention of American voters. The repeal is expected to pass the 60-vote threshold Senate later this week. The Senate has voted overwhelmingly to continue the 2001 Afghanistan AUMF in the global fight against terrorism. While the actions have bipartisan support, they also have critics.
Both parties have essentially argued that the 9/11 AUMF has no temporal or geographic limits at all. Repealing the Iraq War authorization will end no wars and save no lives.
The repeal will still have to pass the Republican-led U.S. House of Representatives. It could be debated as part of the annual defense budget later this year. Katherine Gypson, VOA News, Washington.